Hi everyone. So thank you so much for joining another session of ProBench training. So as you know, we will take up managing scorecards and feedback report as part of this session. So it's a next step towards like getting data and giving feedback to the companies who are participating. So like this is the third step, which is important when it comes to the complete cycle of ProBench, which is of getting feedback to the companies so that they can make sense of uh, the data that was collected, and also like they would get a sense of where they lag and where they are in the universe of the report or the companies that they means of that particular benchmark. So yeah, so as a part of this thing, what I'll do is I'll first like let you know like how you can create these feedback reports, and within the feedback reports I'll go through each of the areas that are important to understand when setting up the feedback report, and at the end I would also cover up like what are the different types of feedback reports that can be created from within ProBench. So I'll take you all through that journey. So when we first like want to create a feedback report or edit an existing report that was created by 73-bit team, so what you need to first go and do is under the feedback or scorecard menu, that is create and edit report. Sorry. And you will see the list of reports that are there, and you can also create your own report. So like when I create my own report, I'll see this screen, and in this particular screen, like if you go through each of these question marks, you will come to know like what all this what each of the fields actually mean. But in a uh, in short, like title is the title of the feedback report, so it has nothing to do with the file name that would be displayed to the company. So title is title for your reference, so you know like which feedback report this is for. Then there is a description field. So like just because we are understanding it, I'll actually go and edit one of the existing reports so that you can make a better sense of what it would be. So in this, like as I mentioned, this is the title of the report. Then there is a description. So in the description, like in case of data sets, this is again for your own reference, like why you have created this scorecard, and all those details that would be helpful for your colleagues to understand why this was created, in case you are not available when something is needed or something. So the description would be helpful in that case. The next and the very important field is the data set field. Okay, so now that we have collected data, we have created data set in the previous thing, and we want a feedback report, but from where the data should come from in the feedback reports or in the scorecards. So that is what this field exactly does. So what you need to select here is the list of, you'll see the list of all the data sets that are created. So in this case, like if you, because I've selected this data set, all the data or all the fields that are there in this particular data set is accessible or can be used within the feedback reports or scorecard. Okay, so if you want a field which is like not or want some data in the scorecard, then you have to put that data into the data set that is attached with this particular report. Okay, so this data set is the actual source of data for the report, the scorecard or feedback report. So this is very important to select one data set here, and if it is not existing, you can create one. All right. On this, like to extend this even further, like there are some situations where or because of the amount of data that is collected, there are multiple feedback, multiple data sets that you have created, and you want data from all those data sets. I mean, if you want data from multiple data sets and not just the single data sets, then in that case, what you need to do is when you edit this data set here, there is a field called as associated report. This one, the report IDs of the associated report. So here, what you can do is you can select the data sets that you want to have the data for the feedback report. So you are attaching basically just one data set, but you can have data from all these data sets that you have created here, or what you have selected or associated with this particular report. Okay, so once you select this, you need to click on update. So whenever you then go to the feedback report, uh, and you want the data from the other three data sets that I've associated, then you will automatically get it. So there would not be any problem, and you'll be able to access it without any issues. Okay, but just one pointer here and note here is that when you generate this data set, okay, and download the CSV, this CSV would only contain the data of this particular data set. It would not contain the data of all these data sets in this CSV. So just a bit of clarification there. So associated reports are only used in case you want the data from multiple data sets into that one particular scorecard or a feedback report. Okay, so it is nothing to do with the generate or the download CSV formats at all. Okay, so just a bit of clarification on that area. So now you got the data uh, uh, from this particular data set. The next thing is like how your report should look like. Okay, like what is the design of your report? Do you want a Word or a PDF feedback report or a scorecard, or do you want a digital scorecard, which is an HTML version of it or web version of it? Okay, so this is what is decided here basically. Okay, like just to like if you see here, there are multiple other reports or files, okay, that are associated. So whatever file I select here, okay, the design of that particular file or that file would be taken as a template for multiple feedback reports. So because now you might be having like 50 companies participating or 100 companies, 150 companies, but your template of the report won't change for all the companies, right? So like for individual companies, so there is this one template document that we need to upload so that the system knows what template it needs to use, and then it uses the same template to generate multiple reports with uh, specific uh, company specific data. Okay, so once we give this particular template and complete the creation of feedback report, and when we click on generate, it actually like uses a mail merge kind of a functionality where the static data in the template and the placeholders, I'll come to that in a bit, would be replaced with the actual data that is there in the data set whenever we generate it. So I'll come to that. So you can select a doc file, you can select an HTML file. Both are kind of used from a design point of view. Okay, so currently I'll just select a doc file or a document, which is a normal Word document file. So I'm selecting that as a template for this particular data set. And then the next you can also select multiple of them in case of web reports. Okay, so I'll come to that in a bit. So this is the template I selected. Then it comes the generated file name prefix. Okay, so this is basically used like as a file name for the feedback reports or scorecards that are generated. Okay, so if your scorecard is in a Word or a PDF format, okay, then you would need each of the scorecards that you create for the companies to have certain file name, okay, so that they can identify that this is for this particular scorecard. So this can be like index report, and then I click on underscore. So why I added underscore at the end is because like after this underscore, because this is named as prefix, so after this underscore, the name of the company would be automatically added to the file name. Okay, so I'll show you that when I actually generate this report. So like I changed this one, then uh, show files of type. So do you want to only have it in Word format, or do you only want to have it in PDF format on the home page, is something that this particular, so when on the home page, when you see your reports and you want to show both Word and PDF, then you can tick both of them. Otherwise you can just tick PDF. So it would only show the PDF files to the companies when it is published. Okay, so that's what this particular field is for. uh, the next is the generate all report. Now that we have done all the setup, okay, so we have given the data set from where you will get the data. We have provided the template or the design template for that particular scorecard or report, and we have also given the file name or the file prefix, so to say. So now like it is almost ready to generate in a way. Okay, at least the first version, obviously without charts. I'll come to the charts in a bit. So when I click on generate all, okay, so what it would do is whatever participants that are part of this particular data set, okay, whatever number of participants there that are, okay, those so the reports for those participants would be generated in the background. Okay, all the reports in one go. You just have to click one button, and there would be a generate process that would start happening in the background, and all the uh, participants uh, would means the report for all the participants would start generating. Okay, but before generate all, if you want to know like for how many participants these reports would be generated, okay, so the best way to do it is like you can go to view feedback reports here, okay, and click on this icon. Okay, so when I click on this icon, I will see that there are two companies currently there as part of this data set. Okay, so when I click on generate all, it would only generate the feedback reports for these two companies. Okay, so if you feel that there should be more companies or less companies, you have to make sure that you put the relevant filters in the data sets here. Okay, so you can use this filter to avoid the test companies or the submitted date. You can maybe change the criteria here, like if you want to have a different survey, or you can add different filters, like if you only want Acme to be part of it, then you can put a filter which would only have Acme as part. So after making that change, you generate, and if there is only one company or more companies, then the same would reflect when you click here. So we have to just make sure that the list that you see here has all the companies that you want the feedback reports or scorecards to be generated. Okay, if there are any additional companies or anything, or there are less companies, you have to go to the data set and make the necessary changes. So or either your data set filters means there are something wrong with them, and that's the reason you are seeing more companies here or less companies. Okay, so it's very important before you actually generate all, you can click on this to actually see like that one. Now that I have verified that I want to create means the number of companies and the companies that are showed are okay to me, then what I'll do is I'll click on generate all. Okay, so generate all, it would tell you like all reports are younger. That is okay, because your data set generated date uh, is greater than the reports that are generated, because currently they are not generated. Okay, so if you like have not generated the data set uh, beforehand, okay, then the reports means basically the list of companies won't come up here in the first place. Okay, and there are then possibilities like you found something wrong after the reports were generated, and you again try to generate all because you are not getting the latest data. Okay, so if you try to generate again and the data set is not generated, okay, then it would not generate it again because no data is changed in the data set. So there is no need for generating the reports again. So if you want the latest data, then you go and first generate the data set. Once the data set is generated, you can again come here and click on generate all. Okay, so like unnecessary generation is not done by the system if the data is not updated anyways. Okay, so now that the I have clicked on generate all. Okay, this you will see the dates that are added automatically. Before it was blank, and now when I go inside this particular icon, okay, what I'll just a moment. Okay, just I think because I select just I'll go to some other going to, let me try generate all again. Okay, because I have not selected the Word document, I guess. Because to generate the PDF, the Word document is important. So that's the reason it was not generating. So now I think it should generate. That is strange. All right. So basically, I'll because I changed it from HTML to doc, it did not allow me to. Now in this particular assessment, there's already a doc file, and after clicking on generate all, I'm seeing the same companies here. Okay, and when I click on edit, it would take me to a page where I'll see both the Word documents and the PDF document. Okay, so here I can like go and check what the data is within the report. Okay, and then like uh, I can like decide if everything is okay. If not, then I'll make the relevant changes to the docx file. I'll show you how that can be done. And once that relevant changes are done, it would update the document. So you can also like come here if you have made changes. You can like, if you want to only generate it for, say, like I've made some changes to the data set for this particular company, or updated the response for this particular company, and I just want to generate the data the scorecard or feedback report for this only one company, then I'll click on add here and click on generate feedback report. Okay, so what it would do is it would show me like all the fields that are generated. Okay, and it would show me the new Word file. Now if you refresh, it would take some time to generate the PDF reports because there is a process in the background that runs after the Word document. So you have to wait till the PDF document is create generated. And now if I go, it would have the feedback report again. You have to see the timings here. So that's how you can generate it for one particular uh, uh, company. Okay, so I'll go back to this particular page. I'll show you how the edits and everything can be done in a bit, because I'll show you how the placeholders and everything needs to be added there. Okay, so that was about the generate all button. Then there are other fields here which is called as publish all. So this is publish and unpublish. So by default, whenever you generate all or generate individual feedback reports, okay, uh, the companies won't see those feedback reports immediately because those are in unpublished mode or they are not visible to the companies. Okay, so that's kind of to keep a check, like once the administrators check that everything is okay, only then they should be published. So that's the reason it has been done that way. Okay, so now like you have verified everything is okay for all the reports, or like you have gone through a smoke testing and tried few of the companies and everything is fine, and you want to now show those reports that are generated to the companies, then you click on publish all. Okay, so as soon as you publish all, you will see that particular report, means the companies would see that report in their homepage under the your report section. Okay, so that's how this would work. And if you like after publishing you suddenly find that there is some problem and you want to kind of revert the publishing, then you can again unpublish all, then it would again go offline. You can make the necessary changes and then publish them again. So this publish all and unpublish all are for that particular reasons there. Okay, so those are the things. And the next is the download all feedback reports. So when you click on this particular button here, what it would do is it would collect all the PDF files that are generated for this particular feedback report and zip them and provide a zip file for download. So if I click now, okay, so it has given me a zip file, and when I click on zip, I'll see the ECME that was like that's in the publish mode currently. So you only got one. Okay, so if once you publish, only then that particular ECME of or that particular file would be available for download here. Okay, so that's what is the so if you want uh, to have all the reports in a zip file and send to someone, or you want to kind of uh, keep it for internal purpose as a backup for all the years, then you can just download all and zip file. But like just a note there, like this is only possible when we are generating the feedback reports in a PDF for a Word document. This is not possible if we have a web reports that are in place. So just a note there. Okay, so this is what is about the setting up the feedback report in a normal case. Any doubts, any questions so far? No questions? All right, no problem. Then the next thing that I would like to cover is the charts, because those are like very important part of the feedback reports. So what you need to do is like there are buttons here, like I add a chart. Okay, so when I add a chart, I need to again give the title of the chart. Okay, so this particular title that we put here is very important. I'll tell you why. Okay, so this particular chart here or title here is very, so I would put it as overall average. Okay, and then from here we have list of all the available charts that you can use here, or chart types, so to say. Okay, so you can have bar charts, you can have bar and line combined, you can have a bar chart with some patterns or diagonal patterns in there, you can have horizontal bar charts with no legends, and then a radar chart or tree map chart. Okay, so you can select any one of those charts here and then click on create in the first place. Okay, now once you create, what you will see this multiple sections here, but now we have created the chart, but where the data would come from, so that would come from this particular here. So I have already created a chart, so I'll just go through that particular chart here. Okay, so you need to like click on this plus icon here to add the data, and like I'll just get a preview so that I can explain you each and every part here. So this is basically your score is the category here. Okay, so you can have any number of such categories which can be part. Uh, so like just to explain you, if I add another category, say your score 2, and then just for demonstration purposes, I'll use these fields here. So these are the fields basically is the actual data that comes from the data set. Okay, so when I do you see this is auto field, or basically you will get uh, the names of all the fields that you can add here. Okay, and this names of fields comes from the data set that is associated with this scorecard. Okay, and also it includes the fields that are part of the associated reports that we covered at the start. So it would cover all the fields that you should be having here. So I'll use overall. So okay, sector average. Okay, and then these are the fields, basically the bars that you were seeing there, and then each bar can have its own color. Okay, so color can also be specified here. You get a selection here, but normally like if there are multiple categories, use the same colors for uh, different categories. So I'll use the same color, and then like click on save all rows. Okay, so what it would do is it would select all the rows here. Okay, and then I can preview. So now you see there are two, that is your score and your score 2. Okay, both are being, so each row is basically a category here. Okay, and each column here, that is call 1 call 2, is basically the bars that we add. Okay, so and the names that I put here as a labels are the actual legends of uh, the uh, the chart. Okay, now you may have noticed like you can have previews for whatever companies you want, and see if things are coming fine for different scenarios. Okay, so that can be done here. You can uh, like give the sorting orders on how you want your score to in the first and your score in the second. You can do it from the sorting uh, thing here. If you want to delete, you can delete that particular row from here. Although all those things are possible. Now say suppose like if you see the scale here is from 0 to 50, which is like automatically taken from the highest number here or highest bar here. Okay, so I want to make it from 0 to 100. So you see there is an access chart configuration. So there are lots of configurations that you can do for each of the charts here. Okay, so here there is min and max. Okay, then I can like give 0 to 100. Okay, and yeah, for now let me only do that. I'll click on update config here. It would show that config saved successfully. Now I'll preview again. Okay, so now you see it has gone from 0 to 100. Okay, so it's completely configurable there. The next thing is like if you like there are lots of other configurations, but like if you want to show this label, the data label, you can like show or hide the data label accordingly. Okay, so that is for this. You can also decide the position of the data label. So currently it is start. Okay, when I make it center and click on update config, it would come somewhere in the middle of the chart. Okay, so that so now it's at the middle. So if you want at the top, then there is another config which is like mentioned as top or end. So when I click on end, it would take you show the data labels on the top. Okay, so these are like many config. I can change this bar chart to stacked bar chart. So when I click on this stacked, okay, and click on update and then preview again, okay, what I'll see is like all the bars are then stacked. Okay, so that's how you can change the configuration. uh, so that is why I'll remove the stacked one. You can show or hide the grid lines that you see in the background, the grid lines or the horizontal and vertical grid lines based on. So there are many configurations. You can set the step size, you can set the font sizes, you can set the pattern that comes, and grid line color can also be changed, font styles. So lots of configurations here. Lots of things can be changed. So yeah, that's what is about the configuration of charts. Also, like there is a way where you can once you have configured, okay, and if you want to have that particular configuration for all the charts that you create, then you can also like save your own configuration as another chart type. So what you see here, that is like grid 0 to 100 or no legends, okay, is basically a custom created chart type. Okay, so the system would automatically save it for you. So whatever configuration that you have added can be created as a chart type by itself. Okay, so you don't have to repeat the same configuration for the charts again and again. It would automatically, you select that particular chart type and all the configurations would be automatically imposed. So that is what this save chart type is for. So it's very useful if you have many charts and you want to use the same configuration. So it's very handy in that case. Okay, any questions with the charts on how to create or anything? Any doubts on the charts? All right. I'll move to the next section is where like I'll show you how the actual placeholders and everything are put within the template. Okay, so in this particular training session, I will cover like how it's done in the doc format. Because the HTML format is a bit more technical. It would we would recommend to take help from our team when it comes to the HTML or web scorecards. But when it comes to Word scorecards, it's pretty doable from your end as well. So I'll try to cover that particular area here. So now that I've selected this doc file, I'll click on edit. Okay, I'll also show how you can save your own or create your own new template document and do it. So I'll show. So I'll just save it for now. Okay, and when I open this particular document, the one that I've just downloaded, uh, so this is what I see. This is the template document that we have in place. Okay, now if you notice, when I click on XXX, there is a name of the company provider. So this is the placeholder. Okay, so wherever like you will see the placeholder, it would be like this placeholders here. Okay, so now this is like combination of the static and dynamic data. So this particular part is static, this is static, then this is static, the headers are static. So these are all are static, and then this is the dynamic data. Okay, so now how you can get this placeholders. So just to demonstrate one, I've created this XXX. So on the Word, there is a developer tab here, okay, or developer menu. Okay, which is what you need to use. But if you do not see the developer menu at your end, then what you need to do is you need to go to options, and then there is like customize ribbon. Okay, and here on the right hand side you will see this developer uh, thing here. Okay, so you tick that. If it is not available or it is untick, you tick and click on OK. Okay, so you will see this developer tab there. Okay, so now when I have a developer tab, okay, and I want to add a placeholder here, so I have selected this particular area, and you need to add this plain text content control. Okay, so when I click there, this particular text converts into a placeholder. Okay, now this placeholder, now what data should I put in this placeholder, and how I would know that? So suppose I want to add save this overall score here, just like maybe like let me like put this xxx. Yeah, I'll put it here just so that it looks more real, like this would show the overall score. But where this overall score comes from is from the data set. Now you need to in the data set, what is the field name of the overall score, or the what is that field name where you will find the overall score? So that you need to find. So for me, I currently know that it's overall underscore score. So what I'll do is when I'm on this particular placeholder, I'll click on properties. Okay, and add overall underscore score. Okay, to both title and tag, both of them, and click on OK. Okay, so now you see that overall score. So whatever data you want in that placeholder, or that placeholder to replace that data, you need to use that field name which is there in the data set to this particular placeholder. Okay, so now that you have modified this, it would show the overall score. I'll show you how to update this document. So that is what you will see here. So this is how you add the placeholders. So it's similarly I've done it for all of this. Okay, now comes to the chart, how to configure the chart. It's pretty similar. Okay, the only difference is like instead of the plain text here, okay, instead of this plain text, you need to add picture control here. Okay, picture content control. So when I click on picture content control, I see the same thing. I go to property, and then in the title and the tag, I need to add the name of the chart. Okay, so what is the name of the chart that I have currently? Is this one. uh, I'll take you to that. So this is the name of the chart, right? The overall score is the name of the chart. So I'll go and put overall score here on both the places and click OK. So the system would automatically replace this picture control with the chart, which would be like shown as an image within the Word document. Okay, so this is how you add charts, or you add any text. Or so this is not necessary that this overall score would only show numbers. So the same placeholders can be used to show the text as well, or anything else. So there is no problem with it. So this is the picture control, and this is the normal uh, text control, so to say, where you can show anything. So this is how you actually do what we actually do in the background while creating this. So now, like I have selected this, let me save as, and I'll like select here uh, underscore v2. Okay, so this is version 2. I click on save. So now this is like completely different. So what I'll do is I'll go to edit. Okay, and I choose the file. I'll go to v2 and click open and update. Okay, so I went to this, edited it, and now you see this the file name has changed here automatically. So I edited it, went to the doc, the selected that particular doc and updated the existing one which was there previously, and click on update. Okay, so now when I go here and I just want to have a look for this particular company, so I'll click on generate feedback report. Okay, so now you see there are two charts that are being displayed. Okay, and there are also two overall scores. Is because like I just added both of them in my current chart. So now I'll wait for the PDF document to be updated. Okay, so now I think it's updated. No, it's not. So now like in this scenario, what happened was because I had opened this particular file previously, okay, it showed me the old file. Okay, so there is a browser or browser cache that comes into picture, which actually caches the PDF files within it because it is opening in the browser. So in such scenarios, what you need to do is you need to try is like you can press Control and F5 on your uh, keyboard. Okay, Control and F5. The F5 is the function key. Okay, so what it would do is it would create the complete thing, and now you see the score that I added is here, and the chart that I added is also here. Okay, so PDF was generated. Okay, but it was not displaying because it was cached by the browser. Okay, so I used Control F5 to clear the cache and get the new file. So that's how it worked basically. Okay, so this is how I created or updated the existing document, made the necessary changes, and then again updated it, and then generated the report only for one company to check if everything is fine. Now I know that everything is fine. Now I click on generate all, then it would generate all the feedback reports that were there previously, and then I can click on publish all. So this is the regular step that I need to take. Now one thing that you might ask is like this file was already there. Okay, now I want to like do this for a new report maybe. Okay, so what I can do is I can like I'll just show you how that can be done. So I'll create a new feedback report. I'll just show you how a new file can be added. So now I see a plus here. Okay, so when I see a plus here, it would take me to the file upload thing. Okay, and if you see the group by default here is brochure template. Okay, so you no need to change that. That is by default because system needs to know like which of the files that are uploaded is for the feedback reports. Okay, so that is called as brochure template. Now I go and choose file. I'll select the same. Let me rename it, if I might. Let me rename it to V3. Or maybe it's open, so I'll just close this. So now it's V3. Okay, and click on open. Description and all, it depends. If you want to give, you can give. You need to visible to survey users and click on create. Okay, so now this file is created here. Okay, and when I click on update, now let me again go to that. Oh, sorry, because it was a new document. So now you see here there are two files, version 2 and version 3. Now I can select this version 3 from here. Okay, name this template like CSR assessment maybe. Okay, and select the data set, whatever data set I want to, like just for the sake of demonstration, I click on create. Okay, so now this new file would be seen in the drop down, and you can like maybe use that file as well. So that's how you add a new file to the template. Okay, any questions with this, or any of the previous things that I have covered? All right. uh, uh, One thing that I would like to cover is like when it comes to the scorecard, and I like what all there are always like what are the capabilities of ProBench, so to say. So what I just demonstrated was the very basics of what you can do with the scorecards. So the design of the Word document is completely up to you. however you want to design the word template or the web template, it's completely on you. What we normally do is the same thing. We create placeholders, and those placeholders are then replaced by the system with the relevant data for that particular company. So that's what we always do when it comes to scorecards or feedback reports. Okay. So I'll just for the demonstration point of view, there are few examples that I'm showing you here. So these are all like the static data that is there, and then you have like uh, subsectors, and all this would be replaced by its specific placeholders, or the scores that you see here, okay, are from the placeholders. This particular bars are basically calculated using the placeholders. So this is a digital scorecard that I'm showing you here. So it's like we create an HTML format. So just to show you, this is how we add the HTMLs here. Okay, so in the HTMLs, one is the index page, which is the very first page that you can select from here, and rest of the things you can keep on adding. So you can have any number of multiple pages when it comes to the HTML web report, because there can be multiple web pages in your web scorecard. Similarly, like here, if you see, you have quick links, you go to cotton. You will see the cotton scorecard here. Okay, so this is a completely new field there. So these are all the charts that we have created. So this in the web scorecard, an additional advantage is that you would be able to see all this on hover. So there's no need for data labels on each of them. And also, like, you can play around like this one. So this is all is possible. Okay, the same thing can be done here as well. Okay, so this is what are various capabilities of Probench. So like the design is, again, like as I said, everything is kind of open, flexible enough for your designs. Okay, so this was the scorecard, which is quite static, so to say, nothing changes. Now it comes to something like this. So what we call this is a kind of dashboard. Okay, so where we have some filters, and based on the filters, the list of so there's a chart which shows the list of all the companies. And then, like, if I go to consumer dictionary discretionary, then it would change the chart for to show all the companies with consumer discretionary. Okay, so similarly, you can have multiple filters if you want, like the companies that are between this thing, then the chart would automatically change and would add filters to it. Okay, so similarly, you can have multiple filters, you can have region filter. So depends, like if there are any companies in Midwest, then you will be able to see it. There are no companies, it will not show. So I'll again go back. So you will see the complete filters here. So all this can be configured in ProBench. Again, the things are done in the very similar way of placeholder and things. Now, like when I click on this bar, it would take you to a more detailed page, which is for that particular company. Okay, and there you would be seeing their ranks there. So this is a publicly available report. There's no problem with that. So like you can do all these things. So you see the complete uh, you see the grades and the fonts that we have used in the charts, completely configurable here. Okay, so like so here we even have recently added a capability of comparison. Okay, so you can compare between three companies, like what the scores are for each of these companies. So in the bar charts also, you will see this three different colors. So you would be able to compare the companies. So this is a kind of a bit advanced version of scorecard. It's filtered, so it's kind of a dashboard that can be created. So like it's again like this is what you were seeing there. So it's like in the similar way we have created multiple charts and all the charts are displayed in the HTML file. So that's how the whole configuration works. Any questions?
Yes, but I was wondering how is it integrated on their website then? What's the
Right.
yeah.
So currently what we have used is the iframe. Okay, because their website is using a CMS system, and CMS system is not compatible enough with ProBench, so that we can put the code there. So what we did is like we used iframe and called one of the ProBench's page from within the iframe. So this particular, if you see, there is a color difference between this here and there is a white background here. So from this line onwards, the web page is basically a ProBench page.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the iframe. But otherwise, like we also have capabilities where we can integrate it with your website on a particular by putting a particular code in your website itself, provided that the code on your website and the code in ProBench does not kind of interfere with each other. Okay. So because we found that problem here because that was like after integration there was a problem, so we decided to use iframe. So that's how it went.
Okay, so it's not refreshed in real time, and you still have to.
It is refreshed in real time, as in like whenever I generate the data set with the new data, then this particular numbers would automatically update it without we interfering there. Okay. So it's like directly it's like live connected to ProBench. So whenever we change anything on ProBench, it would automatically reflect on the on this page as well, on the users page.
And if we would like to, because I think in our case, we, as you know, we have a kind of a different process for the public website. We use an XML injection. But if we would like to have this only for our internal use, where can we push it? Could we push it to, for instance, our SharePoint internal website, or?
Yeah, I think wherever the iframe is possible to add, I think we can put it there. There is no limitation to that. So it's just one line of code that we need to add wherever you want to. So there's no, so the only thing is that it should be like compatible in the sense like it should be compatible and ProBench should not be blocked on that particular website. That's the only thing, but otherwise there is no problem with integrating it anywhere.
Okay, that sounds good.
Any other questions? All right. There's last part. This I think I missed out to show you is this email on publish thing. Okay. So email on publish is basically like mainly used like by our clients who wants to like send these reports along with an email invitation, or like inform them on an email that your reports are ready, and they want to send the reports along in their emails. Okay, so that's what this email on publish is used for. So how it works is like when you click on this email on publish and click on publish all, what it would do is it would go through each of the companies that are there in the feedback reports, go to the primary contacts. When I say primary contacts, the primary contacts are here. So when I click on edit, so the contact information that we add for each of the companies, so it would go through to all these primary contact email addresses and send a copy of a Word or a PDF document, or even so to say the link to the HTML web report inside the email. and is then sent to them. Okay, so the email format is like possible to kind of change from manage content, as we discussed in one of our previous sessions. There would be an email format. Uh, 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 you'll see, you'll get it in the help document there, but there is an email format which you can change here, and that email would then be used, the content of that email would be used when you are sending the email. So you can kind of attach the feedback reports without like forcing the companies to kind of get into the system, go to their home page and click on show reports to get it. You can use this particular feature to get them the reports directly. So that would increase the accessibility for the companies. So that can be done from here, or that can also be done from when you click on let me, did I, okay, this is a different report. So okay, so when I go to the list here and click on edit, there is also email on feedback report generation. So you can also send emails individually to the companies in case like there was some problem with one of the companies and you just want to send an email to that one company with the updated content. So you can also send the email to that one company. Okay, so that's what is, I think I've covered most of the things. Any other questions or any suggestions that you would like to have in this feedback report to make it more clear or make it more usable? Any suggestions? Welcome to. Obviously, you'll get help here. So it would take you to whatever information that I have given would be available in the help document that we have. There's some FAQs as well if you want to go and have a look. No questions? Any idea sharing? All right. All right, no problem. Thank you so much for attending this session. Hope it was helpful. And you can ask the question on YouTube in comments. So I'll try to answer most of them. So thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.